Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By. We are sadly on our last day of vacation. We're packing up. We're making sure we didn't forget our chargers.
All the hotel supplies won't fit in my luggage.
Here, let me sit on top of the suitcase.
Oops.
I'm still in the bathrobe.
I'm still in the bathroom.
I'm still in this really bad picture off. God damn it, it's bolted down.
I'm stealing this hidden security camera.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
So, we are here.
Well, guys, that was great improv.
For us, we are here to discuss Serenity, the movie, not the episode. Yes, they took a page out of Star Trek's book and named a movie after an episode. Those fuckwits.
And they only had, 14 episodes. You would think that they could have come up with something.
Wait till next week when we talk about Emissary.
Yeah. So, in Serenity, we open on someone doing a voiceover about the history, but it's neither Mal nor Shepard Book, but some teacher. And little River is there.
Willow.
She's talking weird already, and you're like, that's strange. This is pre the thing. But no, it isn't. It's all a dream she's having, and she's been captured, but Simon's there in a uniform that we've never seen before, and he breaks his sister out, and then I don't know how to pronounce this man's name. Chiwetel Ejiofor?
Yeah.
He's there, and I mostly know him from Doctor Strange. It's like, hey, it's that guy from Doctor Strange. And he is the nameless operative.
Bum, bum, bum.
An evil assassin sent by the
Parliament
of the Alliance, which is a thing
Parliament
now.
Cigarette Corporation.
And
I was like, oh man, he's part of the funk band?
oh, they have good music. But he's there to get back River, because the Doctor, who for a minute I thought was the guy, the hologram from Red Dwarf, but wasn't, let key people from Parliament meet her, but she's a psychic, which means she read their minds and knows things she shouldn't. Except she doesn't know she knows them, but we'll get to that. Meanwhile, Serenity's pulling a job, and they hold up a private security firm's bankroll thing. But, Reavers. And he brought River along against Simon's objections so she could read minds and be like, that guy knows the
That's
code.
a thing.
Or I think
That guy's gonna stab you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we actually got hey, that guy's got a gun.
Oh, right, that too.
I don't remember anything, yeah.
But anywho, so they just barely dodge the Reavers, and Simon is all like, damn it, I knew you were going to put my sister in danger, and there's a scuffle.
And he said it with his fists.
Yes, he did, very effectively. And so they're like, we're going to leave the boat, and people are sad, and Mal's grumpy. And then they go to have some sort of exchange with these weird twins in funny suits.
They reminded me of the lizards from
Rocco, yeah, kind of.
It's been a very long time, Rocco's Modern Life.
I don't remember what they're called, but they're the chameleons.
I think they're just the chameleons.
Hello, I'm also here.
They have funny accents.
Oh, right, I didn't introduce us. Sorry.
I've been hiding in your suitcase.
Yeah, shit, sorry.
Pause now so we can intro it, put it at the beginning.
No, I'm just going to leave it like this.
Oh, you're the worst, Chris.
This is Chris.
The laziest editor.
The only editor. This is Chris.
This is Ames.
This is Caitlin.
Jake.
Oh, I'm Liz.
Liz is here.
Welcome, Liz.
Thanks.
And Caitlin.
And Liz.
And Caitlin.
And Liz.
And Frog.
And
Nice.
River, let's get back to the thing.
All right.
Right.
Make
So,
it snappy.
River wanders into the bar where this is happening, and she sees an advert, but the advert has subliminal messages inside, and it causes her to go all crazy town, and she has a ballroom blitz. But then Simon bursts in and says something in what almost sounds like German, and she collapses.
Russian.
I thought it was...
Thank you.
Oh, Russian?
It was
Okay,
Russian.
I thought it sounded almost like Arabic.
No, it was
Not
Russian.
like I know shit about shit. But
So
I
now
learned
it's...
it from the internet.
it
so-
makes sense, though, because she's a sleeper agent. That's brilliant. I love it. All right, go on.
So
Sorry.
now it's like, let's try to figure out what the hell's going on with River, even though she was going to leave. Now they're going to stay. But also, this security footage was seen by the operative. And he starts to hunt them down. They go say hi to Shepard Book, who has apparently left the ship and set up like a little colony on this place called Haven. There's a talk. They go somewhere else after that, but I can't remember
He
where.
specifically
They
mentions how he's a Christian.
go to rescue.
Oh, no, that's
Inara, right, because they got a call, and like, she's clearly sending them signals like, don't come. And Mal's like, oh, we're going, because trap. and he's that kind of character.
He's like, I can foil any trap. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they do manage to get away, but then the operative murders literally all their friends. They get back to Haven
including Book.
Yeah, they get to Haven just in time for Book to have a really, impressively not Hollywood death. That was an ugly death. And you don't see that in movies a lot, so I give them credit for that.
Lots of blood in his mouth.
Oh, and the face he was making, it's like, no, that is how people die. They do not die well. And then they're like, they've worked out that River's been, obsessed with Miranda. Miranda turns out it's a planet. They have to cut through Reaver space to get to it, so they string up some of the bodies on their ship and paint it red and make it look like a Reaver ship. They go through, they get there, and Miranda's this huge planet with dozens of glistening cities. And it's like, why the hell isn't this place used? And everybody's dead.
Super dead.
And it turns out they find this beacon, and it was like, the Alliance apparently now is so evil, they were pumping mood-altering gas into the atmosphere, and it was supposed to keep people docile.
Yeah, thought they were getting them happy gas.
And it made them so docile that they just laid down and died wherever they were. They didn't do anything. They didn't eat. They didn't sleep. They just sat there.
They probably pooped.
They probably shit themselves.
Oh, so much.
If
I'm
they
sure
couldn't be moved to eat, they were definitely not moved to clean out their shitty pants.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure, if it hadn't been so long, the first thing when everyone landed would have just been like, oh God, who pooped? The whole planet.
And Jane
pooped.
would be like,
I mean, what's worse, the smell of rotting corpses or the smell of poop?
Well, I think at this point even the corpses are anyway. Point is,
how long has it been, right?
Oh, a while. But there's at least 10 because there's a twist.
What a twist!
10% of the population didn't get super docile. They got super aggressive. It's the secret origin of the Reavers, people. Whoa. And that's what they want to,
retcon alert.
Kill River over. Because, she knows this. So they take this recording.
That's a pretty good thing to kill her over, though. That's a pretty big secret.
They get a recording that this scientist left.
Don't you think?
And they go see one of their contacts, Mr. Universe.
Oh, who I love, David Krumholtz.
Yes, your boyfriend.
My boyfriend.
He was very cute.
But of course, the operative has beaten them there and murdered everyone. But he's not quite dead. He somehow talks to them through his sex droid. And there's
excuse me, that's his wife.
His sex droid
Have
wife.
Have a little respect.
Droid sex wife.
Yeah.
No, I think he uploaded a message into the sex wife.
Yeah, it was weird. Anywho, so Mal goes to the backup system to upload the message and beam it all across the galaxy while there's a sort of standoff with Reavers and the crew, and
everyone gets shot, but no one dies.
Oh, you forgot to mention that.
Wash is dead.
Oh yeah, Wash did die though.
Which, aside from the 2 seconds, that's always I'm hysterical, babe, I'm hysterical. There's no other anything ever. It's just until
a funeral.
No,
well, yeah, sort of at the end.
There's the moment when they let the rest
he's
of the
not
crew
coming. That's all she says.
No,
I
they
don't
were
know.
just saying, they had a job to do. They had to do the job. They had time to mourn later.
We have one sentence left in the synopsis.
Yeah, so basically the operative, having failed in his duties, sees no point in continuing them. He gives them some cover to help them fix up their ship and go on their merry way. And he's like, well, the Alliance has been weakened, but it's still there. And sequel hook that obviously was never built on.
Well, it wasn't just that. It wasn't that he failed and was like, fuck it. It was, he saw the video and was like, oh shit, I thought the people I was working for were the good guys. Turns out they're the bad guys.
Oh, so he didn't know already?
No.
Okay.
That was his whole thing. Was he just did his job.
I don't ask questions. I
he
just
wanted
do
to
what
make
I'm
a
told.
perfect. He was
like Mal, but he meant it.
It was his moral blue screen.
Yeah, okay. Either way, that's the movie.
Yeah.
Nice.
You actually did a pretty good measured job of telling it. Yeah.
That was nice.
Because boy, Chris got real mad somewhere near 3/4 of the way through.
So, it took you that long. That's progress.
So there's a lot. So this movie, I would say it is possibly a parallel universe movie.
I would prefer it was.
Because I don't think it has all that much in common with the TV show.
Not at all.
The characters.
I think
even the ship is totally different.
Yeah, it didn't have that name on the side before.
It didn't have the name on the side. The layout is different.
They had to rebuild it for
well,
movies,
yeah, they couldn't rebuild it the same. The bridge is different. There was lockers on the bridge previously. Now there's not.
Oh, there was a question too. Was there always
cargo bay is different?
Was there always 2 control panels at the front to pilot co-pilot type seating situation, or
I don't remember, but
yeah, because I was saying they didn't show it from
the
that angle.
door is in
much,
a different
so.
spot. The hallway behind the bridge is different.
See that I didn't realize because I don't know the ship that well.
There's a step down to the engineering level once you go out of the kitchen. which there wasn't before. Like, it's strange.
Yeah, no, I definitely, like, watching this, I was like, if you had told me this was made by Fox on a whim without talking with anyone that had worked on
Fox
the...
wasn't involved in
Yeah, this was Universal.
So, that's true, it was. But had you told me, like, this was made by a company that, like, got the rights, but didn't actually, like...
Ever talk to Joss
bring
Whedon.
Whedon or any of the other creators on board, I'd have believed you.
But, like, the other thing, too, is just, like, everything... like, aside... Okay, so the ship is different, but you can chalk that up to being, like...
It's a movie.
It's a movie. They did the same thing in Generations, so
Yeah.
whatever. But...
They,
Yeah, like,
they
that's...
upgraded to Windows 10.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Everything else about the movie is also different.
Yes.
Because here's some things. Just I'm going to list a couple that's really stood out to me. For one, breaking River out of the school.
Mm-hmm.
In this movie, it's depicted that Simon is a fucking criminal mastermind.
Yeah.
He sneaks into the school under fake identity and like does a fucking hero's rescue. Whereas, if I recall, in the television episode Serenity,
He said that
she
people
was
just did it
other
for him.
people broke her out and smuggled her out frozen.
That's
Well,
why she
that's
was in a
more
box.
cinematic, though.
Yeah, oh, it's way more simple. But why do we even need? I mean, I guess if you weren't familiar with the show,
That's the thing.
why
I
are you
think,
going to watch this movie?
I think
first
that's
of all,
I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. Is
Yeah, but they
I feel
had
like,
to make it that way. They had to make it hook so that someone would.
Yeah, and
so
I
that's a
feel like
big
they also
one.
have to clue in people who haven't seen the show, like what all the dynamics are, and I think that's something that like never bothered me of how much info dump they have to do to make sure people who haven't seen the show understand what's going on.
The other thing, the Reavers, like, yeah, I know we never got a specific origin on the Reavers in the show, but we did learn that, like, just by being exposed to the Reavers, you can go crazy. But now we learned that it was some kind of gas. Did the Reavers have this gas? And
Well,
how did they make it sure that only 10... Because that dude in Bushwhacked,
Right.
Yeah.
just by having been attacked by Reavers,
Goes
becomes a
Goes
nuts.
Reaver.
full Reaver. Yeah.
Well, so I feel like that's not that unreasonable of a stretch, because what you are told in the show is what is the common knowledge, which could be
Yeah.
propaganda.
And it's a big cover up too.
Why did that guy turn
But that
Reaver?
guy, because trauma does fucked up things to people, so that could just be like, oh, this must be how Reavers become Reavers, when it could just be his one situation.
My problem with that...
Also, if he
is-
knew that, he could have been
Yeah.
somewhat
Oh,
driven
yeah,
to that just by...
psychosomatic, yeah.
That's what I mean, like...
Exactly.
But my problem with all this, and Jake, you may be building to this, and I apologize if I'm stealing your thunder,
Toss
but
salad
I'm
with
doing it
scrambled
anyway.
eggs.
The Alliance in this just is the Empire.
Yeah.
Like, they went
They
from
do that.
being definitely, like, not the best people, but, like,
Morally gray.
morally gray. Their main crime seemed just be being too big and too bureaucratic.
Yeah, like any.
Well, like what we talked
Yeah.
about a couple weeks ago, where it's like it was the Alliance is not wholesale evil. It is
Yeah.
a government like any other,
Yeah,
and
and there's-
has evil people in it.
Yeah,
that
and
do
there's
evil things.
there's no indication even that, since we only got the 14 episodes, like, there was no proof that this whole horrible academy thing wasn't a rogue element, you know?
Yeah.
Suddenly they've got this
the
parliament
hands of
with...
blue guys.
Yeah. Suddenly they've got this parliament that knows about it, signed off on it, has their own squad of nameless assassins.
Oh, and by the way, they also covered up the fucking human experimentation and deaths of hundreds of thousands of people on Miranda.
Yeah, a whole planet just
What would you do? Would you let that out?
But I mean, it just...
it's yes, I think. I mean,
Well, it also just...
you wouldn't be doing the human experimentation if you weren't an evil empire.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would be a difference of, like, what would your government do if Chernobyl happened? I feel like this is equivalent.
that's the thing. I feel like the Alliance, as it was printed in the show, even if it wanted to cover up something like that,
It would be hard to.
they'd be too bad at it. It would get out. Like, the Alliance here is too efficient, too cruel, too... Again, they're a mustache-twirling, like, two-dimensional villain. Their uniforms have even gone from being these sort of drab, forgettable gray things to these, like, black suits with little pips on the side. And at first you're like, oh, well, maybe because that's the operative special crew. But no, that's the same uniform Simon had stolen to pretend to just be a normal officer. Like, so even their uniforms have suddenly gotten way more evil.
Oh,
Like-
recently reissued standard uniforms.
Yeah.
But they
No, but Simon's was in the
No,
past.
no.
but evil.
It's been a busy 6 months.
It was in the past. He should have been there. It's just it's not the same Alliance. It just isn't.
Well, and like... Sorry.
No, that's all. I was just...
Well, and like we were talking about too, like aside from the stuff that they just change and the fact that the Alliance just goes full, as you said, mustache twisting evil villain, we get like the older, shittier versions of characters. We get original Serenity Mal, who has like
no
likable or redeeming qualities.
They did not play to Nathan Fillion's strengths at all. It was Serenity Mal again. The episode.
I was missing a lot of the humor.
Yeah,
that was present in the show.
Jane had all the humor, I thought.
Yeah.
This was a good Jane movie.
Everything's a good Jane thing, right?
Like
anytime you feature Jane, it's going to be good.
Well, because you love to hate him.
I think the one quip Mal gets is like when they're talking about, what was I supposed to do? Dump you? Dump Jane? Oh, Jane.
But like also like the thing that bothered me the most about it is that we go from objects in space where River has finally sort of proven like I'm part of the crew. We're all like, you came to rescue me. Like I'm one of you guys. And then we get back to the movie and it's like, oh, she's a fucking psycho.
Also her powers have completely changed between the show and the film.
Was she a psychic in the show? Because I've only seen a couple of episodes.
No, yes, she was. They said she was a reader.
When?
Objects in space.
Well, I mean, certainly.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she definitely she had some nascent abilities that seemed to be appearing, but they definitely
shared the mute girl's mind.
Yeah, but they definitely seem a lot more like she seems way more in control of them, and they seem broader now.
She's more Dark Phoenix and less Jean Grey.
When I said the powers, I was more specifically talking about her fucking super ninja powers.
Yeah, but we've already seen her do some super ninja stuff. Not like quite as much, but we saw her go full Matrix gunfight stuff.
The thing that I thought was like she just had such a fucking overpowered brain that she just looked at those people, memorized where they were, and was able to like do the math.
Well, but I think it was already implied that she was being used to make into a weapon because they had removed her amygdala and shit and all this stuff. So I thought that it was already kind of the point that she was being made into a super weapon.
I don't see her as being, kung fu master.
I don't know. I see the same thing as, doing the math, pointing the gun with her eyes closed and killing 3 people, as looking at a group of readers doing the math and saying, this is how I take out a group of readers.
But how does she have super muscles?
She doesn't. She
because
just
Joss
knows where to hit
Whedon
people.
Masturbates to the idea of very small women beating up people much bigger than them.
Speaking of masturbating, everybody catch the close-up on her feet 5 minutes into the film?
Nice.
She was walking barefoot through the cantina or whatever the fuck.
She compressed Jane's stones into diamonds, so she had strength to do that.
Well, it's not hard to squish balls.
Yeah, no.
They're not
they're
not the strongest, hardiest part of the male body, are they?
It's funny, all you guys talking about her.
Mine are armored.
Probably with good reason.
Talking about her doing the math, all I can think about are those scenes from the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies. Where, Robert Downey Jr. is planning the fight. And now I'm just kind of picturing her doing that, and that would have been amusing.
I do like that all of her fight choreo is very, very dancey because she's a dancer.
Yeah.
So everything
that
looks
makes
very,
sense.
very flowing and smooth.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It's very
beautiful
pretty
to watch. The fight choreo is one thing you definitely can't fault.
Yeah, and it's so different from all the fights between Operative and Mal, which is just punch and punch and punch for 5 minutes of punching, and you come back after watching another scene and go back to them, and they're still punching, and they're doing so much.
Yeah, that scene was definitely too long, but it also was reminiscent of that very visceral feel that we had in... Was it Ariel?
But that was a good fight.
Well, yeah, but it's got that sort of...
Ariel, the fight between Simon, Jane, and the 2 guards.
And the dudes, yeah.
And it's very brutal.
Mm-hmm.
This felt pretty brutal as well. I thought the ending of it was fucking stupid, where, thank God, Mal had that cluster of nerves removed.
Here's the thing.
He's a Vulcan,
that wouldn't have been as much of a problem if they had
ever
hinted
talked
at it at all. Because there's even a scene.
Even if he had a war injury, they mentioned it in the show, where he was like, I had some surgery after the war,
Wait. Does he also have extra eyelids and can look at the sun?
I bet.
That
but there's even that scene. There's even that scene where he is shirtless on the phone with Inara. They could have shown him from behind. You could have seen a big,
scar.
nasty scar in that area.
Yeah, because apparently they went through the trouble to put in... This was in I think the IMDb trivia. Apparently they made a point of putting in certain scars.
They added some scars. They removed his tattoo.
Episodes.
Oh, yeah. I noticed the big scar. I was like, oh, that's a bad job.
Yeah, apparently
They had
That's
the-
a bad makeup job there.
They had that bullshit on his chest from War Stories, is the one?
Probably.
Oh, is that what it
With
was?
the torture one?
Yeah,
like,
War
Yeah,
Stories.
that makes sense,
they
because
had
he got the
Nishka
thing.
had the thing that sucked the life out of him.
Yeah, so, you know, he was
You
Princess
died,
Briding
Mr.
him.
Reynolds.
See, what would have been cool is if instead of the war injury, it was the injury he sustained getting stabbed, but in the sword fight.
Oh, that would
that
have
would have
been
been really
Because
good.
that was about in the same spot, and it would be interesting if, you know, the injury he sustained in another sword fight saved his life in a different sword fight.
That would have been really clever.
P.S. What the fuck with this sword? What are we doing?
Because it's just fucking
Is he a
tropey.
space samurai?
I mean, that's-
Does he think he has a great code of honor?
Here's the
and
thing.
shit?
Like, that's a tired, stupid thing, but
Oh my
that's
god.
not just a Whedon thing. A ton of people have that
I know, but,
stupidity.
like, come
There's
on.
always
Sulu
a
for
sword
one.
guy.
Did the Mass Effect people get the idea from this guy?
I mean,
that motherfucker?
this definitely
Which-
comes first.
Kai Lang? Mass Effect 3? The guy who brings a sword to a space gun fight.
When did Mass Effect 3 come out?
Uh,
well after this.
well
Oh my
after
god,
this.
maybe
Like,
I did.
Like, yeah.
Oh no, I forgot about Kai.
Man, can you imagine
How
having...
can you forget about him?
Doesn't
He's
he
the
eat
worst.
the Admiral's cereal? Or Shepherd's cereal?
I don't know, probably. It's not the biggest sin. He fucking killed Thane in a
Oh,
completely
God,
unsatisfying
we
way.
don't talk about that.
All right, this is
Poor
so
Liz.
interesting.
Sorry, yes, we're like
Well,
the
yeah,
only...
but also...
I have
can
feelings
you-
about my space boyfriend.
But
Jeff-
also, can you
Jake hasn't
imagine
played Mass
having
Effect.
so few ideas that you steal an idea from this fucking movie? No offense.
I don't like this movie.
Oh, dude,
No, that
I,
kind of thing isn't
I
stealing
hate
an
it,
idea,
and
but-
watching it again just solidified how much I don't like
but
it.
I do have to give
Yeah, sorry, back
props.
to
I do have
Firefly.
to give one kudos to the filmmakers on this, is that I think I saw 2 or 3 Asian extras.
There were a couple of Asian kids in the opening scene who had lines.
What?
Whoa.
Speaking
Add him to the board! We got 2.
But neither of them spoke any of the Chinese.
No.
Okay.
None of the Mandarin.
But on the other hand, let's talk about how, Chris, you noticed this, and this was actually the point. So, Chris, we watched it together, and at this point in the film, Chris literally, went into a rage and, left the room for a few minutes.
Oh.
Let's talk about how the only obviously Jewish character in the film, and only the second obviously Jewish character from the series and the film, totally turns traitor immediately, and... yeah.
And it's so
over
unnecessary.
our crew.
It's so unnecessary that he did that, because it could have just been another... Because they've already pulled it once in the movie with Inara.
Yeah.
Where she called him up and pretended to be on the level, and obviously it was a trap because she was being held at knife point. Whereas with this one, they had to do extra. They had to make it, in addition to being held at sword point and surrounded by people that were going to kill him.
He's also
they
going to get
had
30 silver.
Yeah, they had to throw in the, give me my 30 coin. Like, they had to make it like
that's a weird detail.
Because it
I also
would have
don't
been
know-
fine if he was doing that and they were going to kill him.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, okay, that's the same thing Inara
How
did,
does-
whatever. But they had to make it a little bit greedy.
How does that even work? Like, a whole bunch of Alliance people jump in from fly in from the ceilings in Mr. Universe's lair, and they're holding it up and saying, well, if Mal calls you, you have to do this and this and this, and A, we won't kill you, but B, you get $2.
A brand new car!
Not
Yeah.
even.
Unless you want what's in this box.
And
the
if-
box.
and if anyone, Inara got her point across by being obviously kind of we've already shown Johnny Computer Wizard. He could have hidden something in the code.
Dude, he could have done tons of shit. Are you telling me he has no security system? He lives in a fucking giant computer majig and he's got no antivirus at the door? Come
I'm
on.
gonna say he did, but Mal isn't bright enough to pick up on it.
No, I just mean, how did they get in his house to begin with? I don't
And
even
how did
mean...
he not have, a safe room?
Yeah, I mean, look at
Yeah.
how fucking difficult it was to get to the backups. You're telling me that it was they just
God.
waltz right in?
The fucking backups. The fucking worst sci-fi action movie trope of all time.
Oh, all of
the
them
big
have it.
fight over the giant
Yeah, no, it was-
spinning
Yeah,
thing.
it's
I
like
was-
fucking Rogue One all over
Well, see,
again.
it's Rogue One. I was gonna
everything
say
from Star Wars all over
It's
again.
Insurrection again. It's the fight and the Collector.
Yeah.
The fight over the giant spinning death thing.
Death thing over, and it's over, the bottomless pit that will otherwise
Yeah.
kill you.
But yeah, no,
C2 man. Why would Mr. Universe have this room?
It's his backup room.
It's like
Why does he
it's-
need a bottomless
it's-
pit
it's the-
under his
Because
it's-
Mal
backup
needs a
room?
plot point.
Yeah.
Well, maybe...
It's the Chompers from Galaxy Quest.
Whoever wrote this episode should die.
Do you know what it might actually be? It might be is it possible that's like his trash disposal something room?
No,
'Cause-
that
the
was
trash compactor room? That's not from Star Wars either.
Oh, you're right. No, but I just mean like...
No, that was specifically the generator room.
Oh, okay,
That's,
okay,
like, he
okay,
actually
okay.
said it's like the
what
the
it is.
backup is over the generators.
Oh,
It's
so
his
are those
generator
supposed
and
to be fans?
it's his cooling system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people liquid cool, he air cools.
Well, listen, space is
It's
very
over some
fucking
fence.
cold, okay?
Yeah. But yeah, no, the Mr. Universe thing, though, it did really, if it was just David Krumholtz, I'd have been fine. He plays these kind of characters all the time.
Yeah.
But the fact the film went out of their way to show you he's Jewish.
Yep, he's
So
breaking
remind
that
me
glass.
about that part because I was watching this in the corner of my screen while I was working, and I think I missed
When they're
the sign.
He
doing,
breaks
like-
a glass. They show
At
his
his fake
wedding
wedding
video
with
with
his-
his sex.
Oh.
He's got the
Sex
prayer
doll.
shawl and the yarmulke and he steps on a glass.
Yeah.
But also, he's being played by David Krumholtz,
Who is
very Jewish.
very Jewish coding
And
in his
and
performances.
also, I mean, just you were saying, there's kind of that Nebuchadnezzar stereotype that was very much what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, if, you just because you hire David Krumholtz, that's one thing. That's who you get him for. But you could... But because
you don't
they...
have to call it out. You don't
they-
have to
Yeah,
hang
they
a
the
made
lid
it
fact
on
they-
clear that the character
The
was Jewish.
fact they called it out, and then again, the reference to the 30 coins thing, which is in medieval and I think even Renaissance art,
Mm.
Judas would often be depicted with, harmful anti-Semitic stereotypes.
Yeah.
He would often be depicted with sort of a big nose. He was often depicted as a redhead, which, for some reason in the Middle Ages, they thought only Jews were redheads. Or only
They
redhead.
probably just because they associated red hair with devilish things. I'm sure.
I guess so, yeah. So, the fact that they, put all this stuff in, it's like, why? I wouldn't have batted an eye if they just hadn't had the wedding,
Yeah.
if they hadn't referenced the money.
Even if I wouldn't even the
It could've
wedding
been-
wouldn't have mattered. I don't think as much if, like I say, they didn't do the money thing.
Yeah, I think it's the two
having a
combined.
Jewish character.
No,
is
that's
fine.
on its own.
Yeah,
It's
that's
great,
true. On
but
its
if
own,
you're
it was
setting
like,
up
yeah.
a Jewish character to be a fucking greedy traitor.
Yeah.
That's not so good.
Yeah, when they just
Not
showed
a
the
great
wedding
look.
scene at first, you're like, oh, that's kind of cute.
Yeah.
But then, with everything that ends up happening, it retroactively is not at all.
The thing is, even if, say Whedon really wanted that line in there because he thought it was a really clever illusion or something.
I mean, he
He
probably
definitely thought it was-
probably
yeah.
did.
It could have
yeah.
been delivered differently. That would still have been redeeming for the character.
Yeah,
He could have been. He could have sounded very defeated. It's like
Yeah.
Oh, give me my 30 coins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, he
Oh, no,
definitely
what
sounded
if-
Why
like...
do I at
As
least
if,
get
as
30
if-
coin for this?
As if the operative threw a bag of coin at him,
Sure.
and then he was like, "Take your blood money" or something, and gave
Something.
threw it
Oh,
back.
that
And then
would
he's
be
like,
nice.
he's
Give him a
like-
moment
and
of
then he did
retribution
this,
before-
Yeah,
Then
because
he sorted him.
the way it was
Redemption.
done... Because if it was supposed to be him being sarcastic, it was not delivered that way.
It was not.
And David Krumholtz can do sarcasm,
Yeah, I was gonna
so...
say if it
No,
was
he
meant to
played-
be
he-
sarcasm, it would have
It
been.
seemed
He played
like
it like a greedy guy.
Like he really had been offered money.
Yeah.
And there's there's nothing textually to tell us he wasn't, and that he really hadn't just...
Well,
And-
it's,
and
it's
it took-
also it's an offer of money or we kill you. So it's the weirdest combination
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah, and that's... But there's ways he could have played it that would have gotten across that he wasn't okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the issue, is like, the
There's
way
so
he
many ways
played
that he
it,
didn't.
that he was just like, sounds good!
Yeah.
Which, again, is also weird for that character, because he seems pretty anti-alliance.
Because
Well, yeah.
So you think he at least would have been like, well, yeah, I want to live, which is fair,
Sure.
but he didn't play it that was his thing. His thing was just like, all right. Sure.
And it even
Hand the money over.
what the line did was then serve to just drain any sympathy out of you just before he gets his comeuppance.
Yes.
Now he's getting a comeuppance by being immediately killed.
Yeah.
Which is such a bummer.
Because he wants money. Okay, not
What
only
is
is he
he
getting
even-
screwed over, but he deserves it.
But okay, here's the thing. What does he even need money for? He's got access to all the porn in the galaxy. Like, what?
New GPUs are expensive, man.
But
Yeah.
They update
but
those
he
things every
does
like
upgrade
8
his
months.
wife.
Somehow he
That's
is
fair.
either if that's his place,
Seems to be.
that complex, that he must be extraordinarily wealthy.
Yeah.
There
Holy
is
shit.
so much shit there.
Also, was this them saying that Jews control the media because he's... I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. He's like,
Someone
I
else-
can track all the fucking... I can track all the waves and, I can see everything. And they're using
can't
that place
stop
to
the
put
whatever.
out the waves, I think.
No, I smirked because someone else suggested the same thing when I was talking about it
When?
on Facebook.
Oh. All
I
right.
don't know.
Well, I didn't read that, but, is that what they're getting... I mean...
I don't think that was necessarily their intent, but again, because of everything else, it doesn't read
Unfortunate
great.
optics, yeah.
At the very least, he wasn't the one that did the fruity oaty bars, which are my favorite things in the world.
I'm sorry, the what now?
Oh.
The fruity
ad,
oaty
the
bar.
What is a
commercial.
fruity oaty bar?
That was the commercial.
Oh, the thing that triggered her?
Yeah, with the Octorok and the two children.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, the octopus is horrifying. horrifying.
Yeah, it was a homage to the Simpsons, Mr. Sparkle,
Which
is one of the like amazing Simpsons episodes.
Oh, that's a good
I've
episode.
seen the art at least from when like doesn't Bart kind of get animated too? Isn't there like a
there could be, but no, that's a good
something
episode.
else?
It's
Okay.
that's
I gotta catch up on Simpsons, man.
Just
That's an
seasons,
old episode.
just seasons like 2 through 9.
That's fine. What I'm
maybe
saying
10.
is I watched a lot as like a very young kid.
The box!
We just watched that clip recently, so that's why I know that. But I gotta catch up. Anyway, let's do a Simpsons podcast. I'm sure there aren't 8 million of those.
No.
It'll also take forever.
Well, no, because
400 episodes.
I'm not watching beyond the good seasons.
You don't have to. I'll keep it on.
So another factor that I felt was at play with regard to this movie being out of step with the series is we talked a lot during the when we were talking about the episodes about how Firefly really is a Western that has been just planted in space.
Yeah.
It's complete with all the tropes and frontiers and wagons, and I feel like
Train jobs.
Trains. And I feel like the Western element was completely lost. Like that was not present in this movie.
It was more
whatsoever.
of this sci-fi Western. It leaned way more into the sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean, this could have been Battlefield Earth. It could have been any.
What's that?
It's a terrible
John
Travolta
Scientology movie.
Oh, your name.
Yeah.
Anyway, but no, this could have been any sci-fi action flick. There was really no need for it to be Firefly.
You know what else there was no need for? Nathan Fillion's space suspenders.
Space spenders?
Yeah, there was a lot of weird shit going on aesthetically here with the costumes.
Suspenders. They were nice. They went with his outfit. In this, he wore these horrible black rubber suspenders that really stood out, and they had like extra texturing. They were supposed to probably look futuristic, and it was just and Wash, for some reason, was wearing a harness at all times, even when he wasn't in the pilot seat. That was a bad choice.
Maybe he was having back pain. That's what I thought was happening.
I mean, that's probably, presumably, it's his equivalent of a flight suit.
Actually, I wonder if it has anything to do with zero gravity and keeping your body in a
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, I feel like you could definitely mumbo-jumbo it away.
The interesting thing about this is that there were a lot of costume touches in general where I thought, this is nice. And I looked at the credits, and the costumes in this movie are done by Ruth E. Carter.
Who's that?
She recently won the Oscar for the Black
Panther
costume.
Oh, sorry, I just hit you. I'm sorry. I just got so excited I smacked Liz.
I'm used to it.
Please.
I mean,
Yikes.
most of it didn't bother me. My only issues, again, were Mel's new terrible suspenders and Wash's harness, which, again, had he worn something like that through the whole series, it wouldn't have bugged me. But it just suddenly popped up here and it was hideous.
Yeah, but that's gonna, they're definitely gonna, when you're moving from a series
merchandising
to a few years later, a movie adaptation, you're gonna expect some, the Klingons change from series to series.
Yeah.
Some are more dramatic than others, looking at Discovery, but there are going to be smaller changes, and you just have to sort of roll with it because it's basically we're doing this because we have the budget to.
No, I know.
Because there's a new creative mind taking it at a different angle.
Well, and also, good.
For me, it's the fact that rather than change if they change the whole costume, I'd be like, yeah, he's just got a new costume. But he just went from having practical stuff to overly flashy something, which doesn't.
Maybe he picked up some suspenders somewhere.
I don't know.
You also want more details for a bigger screen.
Yeah,
you have to look at does every seam look good?
Yeah,
because otherwise you can't see it on the TV.
I
you
just
can
think
see it on the screen.
They didn't look good with the outfit, but yes, everything else I thought was fine.
I don't know. My one note about the costumes is Inara is dressed entirely inappropriately for a fight.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
But she did have a Chewbacca crossbow thing.
Space bow and
You
arrow.
literally said, "Okay, Chewbacca," while we were
did.
watching.
That's something about in Star Wars that has always irritated me. That Chewbacca it's a laser gun, but it has a bow and
it looks like a
crossbow.
crossbow.
For me, he doesn't pull it back ever. It's just a crossbow arm on the front.
Actually, so let me explain what it is in universe.
Okay,
that is a nerd voice if I ever heard it.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to enjoy hearing that on headphones.
Sorry, it is a it's a bolt caster. Anyway, it's not actually a laser gun.
Oh,
it is actually shooting physical projectiles.
Oh,
and I think what it is, the little balls at the end are like electromagnets, and it's like a sort of a railgun type situation.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh shit!
I'll
fuck you up.
Now,
So shooting giant musket balls?
kind of.
Oh.
So now,
They're
internet.
green and explode.
That's fucked up.
I forget where I heard this. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what the deal is with his thing.
Okay.
So it's
all right. So, but
now
you know
admittedly-
that was a retcon, right? Like,
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like
Someone
they
made that
designed
up.
the gun, and then they're like,
Yeah.
Someone was like, why does it look like a crossbow?
Yeah, no, someone like
Bowcaster.
totally threw that into one of the novels. But that's, I think, why they finally, J.J. Abrams had him finally shoot the fucking thing. Well, actually, Han shoots it
Yeah.
in Force Awakens, and it just like knocks a guy back like for 1,000 miles because it's like a tiny. If memory serves, it's basically a portable railgun.
Okay.
Whereas Anara is actually literally
But
pulling
if
back
they're
an
pulling
arrow,
a string,
which is
and
like,
it's like a
what?
laser.
Well, she had explodey firework incense too. That was cool.
Oh, yeah,
That I
that's a
liked.
nice idea.
That was
I liked
clever.
it.
I wonder if that's like standard kit for companions.
I
Like,
hope so.
You got your regular incense, and then you get your exploding incense if you need to like get out of a jam.
Well, it's either that or she's like the fucking queue of companions, and I can't buy that. Not even for a second.
Which
so.
Q are we talking here?
Not the Q
Bond.
you're thinking of, James
Damn
Bond.
it! I'm always
Sorry.
thinking of this Q.
I know. I really liked a lot of Zoe's outfits. First of all,
She always looks great.
her jacket at the end. I don't know if that's like exactly like what she's been wearing the whole time, and it just looked better in this movie. But I thought that was great, and I thought
Her
that the dress that she wore to the funeral. So my headcanon, I was
Loved
like,
it.
Zoe doesn't own that dress, and I said, oh wait, unless it's her wedding dress. So my headcanon is that was her wedding dress.
Oh, I love that.
Because I don't feel like Zoe would own that otherwise. It just doesn't feel very Zoe. I mean, not that like she never goes out in the town to like wants to look pretty, but she doesn't have a lot of opportunities to do that. You know,
You know
with the
what there's-
Firefly. So that's my headcanon. That was her wedding dress.
You know what there should
And
have
it looked
been
foxy as hell.
at the funeral?
A hologram of Tasha Yar.
Close.
The Windows like desktop.
Next to Wash's thing,
Headstone?
The marker, yeah.
a smaller headstone with a hologram of his mustache. Because after he passed away, they found out
Motherfucker.
he'd kept it all, like he shaved it, but he kept it in a little box all these years.
Fed it every day.
And would occasionally just like look sadly at it.
Wow.
And so they find it and bury his mustache next to him.
I did read that the reason that they killed off Book and they killed off Wash were because they were the two actors who would not have necessarily been in a sequel. Like they didn't sign on to do a sequel if there was going to be one back when
So
there was
fuck
talk
'em,
of
let's
maybe
kill
doing
'em.
one.
Assholes.
Yeah, so they decided to kill them off.
How? Okay. All right.
Two
So
of the strongest
in the
performers in the
film,
cast.
how did they know? So they might have suspected that the operative had already made it to Mr. Universe's
Later.
compound
Bungalow.
when they talked to Mr. Universe on the phone.
They sure didn't prepare for it though.
No.
Who didn't?
Them.
The
Like
Firefly
Mal was
crew.
even saying, like, the way Mal was
No,
talking,
they
he thought he was
totally-
going to beat them.
No. So here's the thing. How the fuck?
Why
No, they
can't-
must have
no.
known not only was the operative there, but that there would also be a fleet of ships. Why else would they provoke the fucking Reavers to follow them?
They didn't provoke the Reavers. The Reavers just started following them.
They just wanted to pull a Galaxy Quest and start
No.
towing bombs.
I think they were. I thought the plan was because when they left Miranda, Mal actually says they won't see this coming, and I thought that was a reference to that's why Mal was manning the gun on top of the ship.
Oh.
Was so that he could specifically shoot one of the Reaver ships to rile them up.
I mean, maybe, but he didn't shoot them until they started following.
Well, they followed them on the way
No,
there.
not really.
They had the freaking light that followed them.
Yeah,
I
but
think
they
they
weren't
coulda-
physically like right behind them like
No,
that.
I
They
think-
were just checking it out.
I really do think that they deliberately provoked the Reavers because they knew that they were going to be in a battle and they
Yeah.
wanted
No,
the
I
Reavers
agree with
to
that.
distract.
Oh, see, I didn't get that at all, but I'm willing to be convinced.
It was, I'm trailing. I got mines trailing me or whatever. They
Yeah,
did in Galaxy
I
Quest.
swear there's even like some kind of lead up when they're like, oh, you realize that this means that the Alliance is going to be all around, and Mal gives this look like I've got a plan for that.
Yeah, and
Like-
I think
like-
the plan was to provoke the Reavers.
All
like-
right,
like he
well, I
had
missed
the-
that, so it sounds... Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
like he had another plan for how to get through the Reavers in the first place by pulling a Walking Dead and dressing up like one of the corpses and just walking right through until your stupid
Yeah, and
girlfriend's
I think
son
that-
gets
and I
himself
think
killed.
and I think they could have done that too. I think they could have done that on the way out. It worked once.
Yeah, but this time they're going through, but also going straight into not the Federation, the Alliance, and
yeah. Well, that's again.
They can't
that's
just
why
sneak
I think,
through the Alliance.
No, exactly. They can't sneak through the Alliance, and they knew that, and that's why they brought the thing. But
I'm with you on
like,
that.
if there was any, if it wasn't a fleet, because there wasn't a fleet of ships at Inara's when they rescued her. So if there wasn't a fleet, then they just got a whole fucking mess of Reavers following them for no reason, and that would have really fucked their plans. And like Mr. Universe wouldn't have been happy about that.
Oh,
like,
no!
Like, hey, oh Mel, you guys are what the fuck? You always bring me the best violence.
No, Mr. Universe he's got a panic room somewhere. He just couldn't get to it in time when the operative.
Well, the
died.
other thing about the operative scene is, I think it might have been. I agree that having the money thing was very unnecessary.
Yeah.
And like, I can just think of so many other ways that whole scene could have been handled.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we've talked about this. Meanwhile, I'm going to change course just so I can get my computer off the table because the cat keeps wanting to jump up. So I want to
Stupid
change
table.
course.
I was wondering why it was up there.
Yeah. Oh, god damn it. This course is not on. Hang on. It was on 5 minutes ago, and now it's closed. There we go. So, I found the marketing campaign for the movie.
Okay.
Because, they built up this thing, they made this marketing campaign. It's called the Section 416 Files. And they released them. There were 5 little mini videos. I'm going to show you the second one, because the first one won't make sense on audio, but the second one actually has some dialogue.
Okay.
And we'll play this. And I'll share the whole thing. I'm just going to play the second one for folks. As how they marketed the show and tried to create this viral
8 minutes
campaign.
long?
No, we're only watching the second one. This is all 5.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see. They're all together.
And
in
we'll
one.
share this, so...
Yeah. River Tam, session 1.
I do. It's... Sometimes things move a little slowly for me.
I imagine they do. What's your favorite subject?
I'm finding physics a challenge.
You're in the graduate program already.
They call me Little Mouse.
Do you think they're jealous? Because you're so young.
Volker is a little. He plans to become very important.
Did he tell you he was jealous?
Oh, no.
You feel it?
People
Well,
tell you
I'm an
things all the
empath.
time without talking. The way they move, the way they aren't talking.
You're very intuitive.
Simon says I was born with a third eye. He hates when I can tell which girls he likes.
Your brother. He's a doctor, right?
He's a trauma surgeon in Capital City.
Quite a family.
Simon's a genius. I can never do what he does.
I think you could do whatever you put your mind to.
This is uncomfortable.
That's
Yeah,
what
it feels like an
Minds
intro to
Needs
a
what
porn
this institute
somehow.
is all about. Your mind. Letting it do everything it could. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in?
Troubled look.
Would I still be allowed to dance?
Yeah. So this is it's a series of brief films like that that have interviews with River with her therapist at wherever the fuck it was they took her.
Oh, I was gonna say, that's her...
That's session 1.
So these are supposed to be like before the start of Firefly?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I couldn't help but laugh during the thing because she mentioned that he works at Capital City, which aside from being...
From The Simpsons?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, first of all, it's like, really, you couldn't think of a real name. But second, yeah, all I could think was the Capital City song from the Mascot episode.
It's better than Unobtainium, am I right?
Only just.
Only just, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's like... That's what we need, Liz.
The city of
Unobtainium.
Townsville.
Yeah.
Boulevard Street.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
those videos get progressively more and more crazy
Yeah.
as River becomes River.
Yeah.
And you see the progression, and it's fun. And spoilers, the one we didn't watch, the first one, is actually the last one. They go out of order, and she kills the guy.
Is that meant to be an homage to how they got fucked over by Fox, or do you think...
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I think they were going for a Tarantino
Were her feet in it?
thing.
So something that seemed to be implied by the film was that the whole reason that she's crazy in the film anyway is because of her knowledge of Miranda. That like that.
Yeah, that's
Right.
That was
And then
implicit.
one- and
We've
then
backed
once-
off on the amygdala thing, I guess.
And then once she gets that off her chest and they figure out the secret, she says, "I'm okay." And then from that point
I don't
forward,
think
she's less
she's
crazy.
okay.
I'm going to say she's not okay, and you know why I say that? Because she definitely watches her brother bang down on Kaylee. Did
Yeah,
you
I didn't
catch
need
that at the
that.
end of the film?
Oh, yeah.
Can't we just
Oh,
have
wait,
Simon
is
and
that why it
Kaylee
was-
banging?
I mean, she could still be a pervert.
Yeah, it's her
She's
brother,
17.
though. No, it's not even that she's
Oh,
17.
I was a pervert when I
also
was 17.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I-
the most
I was-
perverted time.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think. Well,
It's just that
I
it's
had
her
my,
brother.
I definitely had my first vibrator before I was 17, so
Wow.
that doesn't bother me. Well, they sold them at Spencer's Gift, so I was like, "Fuck yeah, $10 to
And-
push my happy button.
And
Let's
have you
go,
seen Simon's bod?
dude." Yeah, he was pretty.
I have.
Don't get me wrong. I
That's
want
pretty
to
nice.
watch them fuck, but I'm also not a blood relative.
Yeah, that's the thing. You just wouldn't. You don't watch your sister have sex or your brother have sex. That's
No.
not. That's not right.
Yeah,
That's-
but
that's not how you
she's
do
still
outside of
gonna
West
be
Virginia.
Weird, but did she lose the crazy?
Can we still use the pass out command on her? And can we show her the fucking fruity oaty bar commercial again? They should have showed her that commercial before she went fucking crazy on all the reavers.
Yeah.
Well, presumably it was because it was like there was like matrixy code in there. Not it wasn't the commercial itself, right?
Yeah, it's.
Well, yeah, but
it's
still,
just-
just show the ad again anyway.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that would drive anyone crazy.
I didn't. I really did not
Fruity
like it. I
oaty
found it
bars.
very creepy.
Yeah, no, it's uncomfortable.
So yeah, I know you say that the real world reason why they killed Book and Wash is because of the contract issue for a sequel, but also I think because I remember
Was Ron Glass already sick at that point?
no, he only died.
That was back
recently.
in 2005. So.
Yeah, that
When
was
did he die?
2012, 15?
No. It was,
Oh, I thought he died like a couple years later.
no,
So I
he,
didn't.
he lived at least another decade.
Oh, okay. All right, then I take it back. Sorry.
But yeah, no. What I was gonna say though is that I watched this movie. I want to say it was opening day. Like it wasn't a midnight showing or anything, but I saw it that weekend in the theater, and I saw it with a bunch of other people, a bunch of other Firefly fans, and Book died, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they killed Book." And then Wash died, and it was like, "Holy fuck, Wash died." And then you have the big battle, the big fight scene in which everyone's getting shot and hurt, and it's kind of like, oh man, they're really going in. Everyone is going to die, and that's just what Joss Whedon's decided.
Well, and Simon, I thought,
Fuck you,
did
Fox.
die. I was really confused when he was totally
Because no
okay
one bothered
at
to
the
listen
end.
to him and get the fucking adrenaline.
Yeah.
No,
told you what he needed.
she got the bag for him.
Okay.
She tossed it through the door. That was the bag.
I missed
But
that
still,
part.
it's like I thought the adrenaline was for Zoe, not him, or not Zoe, Kaylee.
The other thing was for Kaylee, the adrenaline. No.
Yeah, no, I think...
One thing was for her,
He
one
got
thing was
straight
for
up
him.
shot in the gut. There's no shot in the world that's gonna fix that. Your stomach
it's a gut-
acid
gut
mixes
shot
with
is
your
just-
mixes with your fucking innards.
Listen,
and you're fucked.
like Zoe got slashed across the back with a giant sword,
And they filled it with foam.
with fucking whipped
I
cream.
love that. Ooh. That one washes
Like-
into.
Well, you know what's interesting
You
about
want some
that?
strawberry shortcake?
You know what that felt reminiscent to me of, though? It almost felt like they were using something they would use to repair the ship to do that. And the thing is like in the emergency room, if they don't need to give you stitches, they will basically just use what is like medical grade super glue to like seal up wounds. So
Well,
that
that's-
actually felt kind of like interestingly true to
that
life
was
to me in a way.
super
Caulk.
glue was like a wartime.
Yeah.
Like that's like
In the
how
old-
they would close up battle.
in the old
wounds.
days, they'd use cobwebs.
Mm.
But yeah, the stuff
That's why
they
they had to
squirted
keep
onto her
cobs with
almost
them
looked
at
like
all times.
caulking or something. Caulking?
Caulking.
Squirted some caulk in her back. Yeah.
Now-
So anyway.
Now I'm just
Wash is
imagining
dead.
them.
Well, now she and Mal can finally dick down.
Oh,
now I'm
gross.
just imagining them like having
Her
Like-
and Jane?
a little tent full of official medical spiders. There's a bunch of spiders, but they're all wearing those
Little
tiny
nurse
like
hats.
Oh, I like it.
1917 like nurse things.
What are those things
there's
called?
like this-
I have no idea.
Fuck.
a name for
Like
those
Jackie
things?
Kennedy wore. Is that what you're talking
Pillbox?
about?
No,
Pillbox,
not
that
a
was
pillbox. The little like The like World War One era
No,
nurse hat.
they're
sort of
almost like
a,
sailor caps, but with a red cross
and they're sort
on
of
it.
they have a little like fold in the front.
Yeah, I know the one you mean.
I like the
I just-
thing with like a little reflector on it that doctors wear.
Well, that would be the one the head
The
head spider has that. The
Of
rest
course.
have the little.
Can we get what Dr. When was wearing that time?
Oh, the
Oh,
red
that
little
red
when
red
she
outfit.
was being stuffed with crumpets?
That's what the
Yes.
official. That's what the official
Star Wars guard outfit.
A smile?
That's what
all
the
she was wearing.
official
Oh.
Starfleet spiders wear when they're using their.
The official Starfleet
I bet like that sounds
spiders.
something Phlox would do. He would have like spider spun bandages.
Spider spun.
But anywho, yeah. So I don't know. I think there was definitely an effort to make the audience legitimately believe that
Everyone was gonna.
everyone was gonna get.
Well, yeah, I for sure
and
thought
like
they
this
were
was
all
and
fucked.
this was going to be the they got the message out, but you
To
know
what? At what cost?
everyone died.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is the okay? Here's my question. A, was this message worth covering up? Was this message worth killing everyone to get to River? Like they fucking fuck up Book's whole planet, and that's sad. And was this message worth all of them dying to get it out?
Well, it wasn't just Book. It was they said it was everyone who'd ever given them.
Oh yeah,
shelter.
they killed Fanti and Mingo, who I loved.
Anyone who give you pierogi. Shot.
Oh no. So like, I mean, my hang up with it wasn't so much would they do this, because like
I think it's clear they would do this.
yeah, but like it's mainly around the operative. The operative, like I think if he weren't performed by Chiwetel Ejiofor, I just hate the character outright. But luckily he has a silky voice and impressive performance. But like he makes it clear, like he's like, no, I'm a monster. I'm doing this because I need to be the one to sin, to make the world without sin, or whatever the fuck. I'm doing this for the greater good. I'm murdering children and massacring civilians and innocents to do this. And then when he sees the tape, suddenly like this is his his morality, like, you know, like defeat. Like he's like, oh no, this is horrible. This is unconscionable. You know that they hid this. We're friends now. Like how like. You can make more of a case for the cover-up for this, for what they were doing in general, because even the woman in the video was saying, we were doing this because we thought we were going to make peace. Like, arguably, that is within his moral framework, that he would be okay with this, and he would understand that they're covering it up in his mind for the greater good. He could justify that, but somehow that is going too far when he has literally murdered children.
Yeah. Oh, that little kid that Kaylee liked was so sad.
It was an adorable child.
It was a cute little thing.
And he
Here's a
murdered that
question.
child.
Oh yeah, probably with his bare hands.
Yes.
Here's a question: does the Alliance have the manpower, firepower, whatever, to just take out the Reavers?
In a fair fight, they didn't seem to. So,
Yeah. Well,
because they were pretty evenly matched at that point. It was.
I'm just...
But that gets back.
How often would they have a fair fight?
You know,
the
like
other
what?
thing too
I
is
don't
like
like
the
the
Reavers. No one likes
Reavers
the
seem like
Reavers.
they're
No, but-
going to be a diminishing threat because
Yeah.
like if they're created by exposure to this particular gas and everyone who was on that planet is dead, there's not going to be any new Reavers.
Right, eventually you
Except
can kill
for
them
the
all.
case where they don't kill somebody, which sounds like it has happened once.
Yeah, like I mean, this, we had a problem with the Reavers from the off because it's like, how do they
Breed.
work?
Go to like have
not
day-to-day
consistent.
stuff.
Yeah, they're very
They have
consistent.
like how do these people like
Who was running that little light thing that goes by?
Yeah,
Why wasn't
like-
that person killing right that second?
how do they maintain, repair, and utilize starships? Like,
yeah.
And also,
either
how-
they're mindless savages or they're...
but we talked
And
about
how
this
do
on
they
an
not
episode.
tear?
It
Yeah.
doesn't
How do
make
they
sense.
not turn on each other? That's
Well,
what
that's
I'd
it,
like to know.
when they fly
Because
into-
eventually zombies will eat other zombies if there's no people around.
When
I'm
they-
guessing they do.
Yeah,
when
they
they-
do. They
But
will.
there's no brains.
Well, zombies will eat everything, not just brains. But
So I
Even
have
when they fly into Reaver space, like they turn on their comms and it's just screaming.
Yeah.
That's
I was
just
wondering,
their
like, how did
radio.
all those people get to Reaver space?
That song is number one on the top list
On the Reaver
the
charts.
channels. Yeah.
Actually, it would probably do very well on the black metal chart in Sweden.
See, well,
Sorry.
yeah, I think a much more, again, I do question some of the choices made in this movie, and one of them is the secret of Miranda.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been a lot more effective for, being the dark secret that it needed to be, as if the Alliance had deliberately created the Reavers.
Yeah, if they did it on purpose, that would be
like they
way
created the Reavers
worse.
as a way to like, hey, we're gonna, because they say that it was right before the war that the call went out for settlers on Miranda. So what if it was they lured people to Miranda
to make them into bioweapons,
to make them into weapons to terrorize the outer planets, which is where we know that the rebels were.
Yeah.
You know,
And
which is basically what the Reavers are.
And this is basically the plot of Resident Evil.
It's a plot of a few things.
If the Reavers were weapons created by the Alliance to win this, to defeat the rebels, and also to create, just a threat to keep people in line.
Yeah, and then you could have it like they're still actively making them, and they're the ones giving them equipment, and it's just like, it doesn't matter, they can't maintain it, because once that ship inevitably implodes and all the Reavers are dead, we make some more, give them a ship, chuck them up there.
Like, that could be something, like, that's something where I could be like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense for the operative specifically to be
then it turns into 1980s Reagan helping whomever with guns and shit
It turns into 21st century shit. Like, it's a pretty consistent...
I think they were also trying to make sure that the Alliance isn't evil. They're just kind of passive about not being not evil.
Should we say amoral?
Yeah, amoral is pretty
good. In this case,
good.
like, they are.
Yeah, no,
they're given a more evil tinge in the movie.
They put people on this colony on Miranda and then tried to gas them to be docile.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I assumed it was, a volunteer situation where people were just doing science. Was that not the case?
No, they said
they added it
into
the atmosphere for everybody.
That wasn't like
I thought it was voluntary.
No, it was not an experiment.
Settling there was
what
voluntary.
Would have been cool, here's another cool thing they could have thrown in the movie if they really wanted to, is they could have had. They said it affected 10% of the people. What if it's still present in the atmosphere?
Oh yeah, and someone turns
what happens
in the crew.
If Jane or
Jane
Wash,
please, if Jane turned, every single one of them would turn as one to put him down.
That's true.
And not think twice.
No question. They're like, all right.
Oh well.
Anyway,
we hardly knew ye.
I love that.
I'm talking about a different movie now.
A better movie.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, the operative. So something I found very interesting with the operative is at the beginning of the film when he goes to the facility, the school, to check out the archives. He scans his hand, and the guy's like, "Oh, an operative of the Parliament. Ooh, very la-ti-da. You have clearance."
Clearance.
And then he's a deeply religious man, evidently. He talks about sin all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He's good with a weapon. And just seems to have general badass qualities. And Book knows a lot about the operative.
Book used to be an operative.
Is Book a reformed operative himself?
Oh, that's fun.
He wasn't born a shepherd, or whatever he says.
Possible,
he's not a grandpa.
Okay, tinfoil hat time.
Sure.
Is it possible that Shepherd Book
is a clone?
Knew about if not knew about Miranda,
Caitlin.
knew about the school, was maybe one of the people that was initially assigned to track down River.
Whoa.
And was like, you know what? This is fucked. I'm just going to go onto their ship and protect.
I'm going to disappear
I'm going to leave my post as an operative and go on my ship and go on the ship with them to protect River and make sure nothing bad happens.
I don't think that... Okay, I don't think
like
that's what it was,
what they had in mind.
But I love the idea. I think it more likely... that he just is a former operative and it happens that he has a certain set of skills. But I love the idea of him like going off the radar, off the radar.
Off the grid.
Off the grid,
going AWOL.
No. Fuck. Rich people.
Off the
compound.
Oh.
Is that a thing they
off
say?
the Abbey.
Sure. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. It just feels like it's more
off
likely
the reservation,
that...
I think.
Reservation! There it is. Oh, fuck. Is that a racist thing to say?
Probably.
Yeah.
Fuck! Alright. Off the grid, anyway. Son of a bitch. But yeah, so...
It's a very fancy tinfoil hat, Jake, and I like it.
I love it.
I mean,
I just don't think they're smart enough to have thought of it.
If he is a former operative, which I think is heavily implied, because the same thing happens in Safe, in the episode Safe, he goes on to they bring him to the Alliance ship. He scans his card,
right,
and they're like, get this man a doctor.
Well, and Early says that's not a shepherd.
Yeah,
so
there's
Early
lots
obviously
of hints,
knows something.
and he knows a lot about weapons.
Early, that's his name. I was trying to think of his name all day.
He can kneecap people.
Was it Jubal?
You know?
Jubal Early.
Yeah, Jubal
It's a good
Early.
name.
Okay, so but now I have another problem, which is why are all these like evil operatives doing the work of the fucking Alliance Black?
Because they're Section 31.
What does that mean?
You'll see.
Well, Jubal Early.
I will?
Well, Jubal,
In
in
Star Trek.
It's a Star Trek
I
thing.
was like, what the fuck?
Actually, you've seen Section 31 because you watch Discovery, right?
Are they all black?
No.
Oh, they're black.
See,
I didn't
that's
catch
what
that.
she said.
I said, why are they all black? And then you said they're
Oh,
Section 31.
I
I
thought
was
you
like,
meant like.
I was
Okay,
like,
go
what
with
the
that,
fuck
Ames.
are you talking about?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you
I don't
meant
know what-
black as in race, not black as in like a different, like a shady situation.
Ames
Well,
doesn't.
I don't
Ames doesn't
think-
see color.
I don't think Jubal Early was an operative. I think Jubal Early was
A bounty hunter.
hunter.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
As
yeah,
you
but
said.
I just mean we only have ever seen 2 operatives, and they're both black.
That's true.
So how come?
There are a lot of how comes along those lines in Firefly.
So many.
Is it because Joss Whedon is a racist?
This is one of those things where, like, I'm not gonna, like, I wouldn't put him in the same class of racism as what I will, in my mind, I guess I call, like, active racist.
Yeah.
Conscious racist.
So you call
I
this
think
like
this
an
is more of like
unconscious bias?
and not bothered by it. Like, yeah, I'm sure, like, someone must have, been like,
Don't you think that's a little weird?
Don't you want some Asian folks, like, in the speaking roles with all this Asian culture?
Nah.
And you're like, nah, and, because he's the kind of guy who's smug enough in his own, like...
Is he the kind of guy that laughs at a funeral?
He's, like, I mean, he's the kind of guy who's smug enough, like, that people give him praise for being a feminist, that he thinks
Even
that
though he's like sexually
that whatever
assaulting
he does
people.
is great.
Yeah,
you know?
good for him.
So, like, I feel like this is one of those things where he's like, nah, I'm great. There's nothing that I do that's wrong. So this is fine. If I say, like, he's probably the kind of guy who's like, we're just going to hire the best person for the job. Like, and then see no problem.
Make him black.
So, like, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's concerned about optics, and, he just doesn't worry about how that privilege comes into play.
In his defense, though, 17 years ago, most people weren't quite as aware of optics as they are now. When I say that, I mean white people.
You
I
could
don't
I was about to
mean-
say, like, there were plenty of people.
I'm talking about white people.
Even in the
Give
90s.
have an in-universe explanation that perhaps, and this is not suggested in any way in the show, so this is me totally...
This is you making it
This
better.
is me riffing, is that perhaps the Alliance or the Central Planets are white, and perhaps when they...
when they recruit.
When they, for their, we get our operatives, that's like a thing that they're, the lower classes do.
Oh boy, that doesn't make it any better, though.
Well, no, it doesn't make it. I mean, it makes if that is a thing that the Alliance is, it makes the Alliance even worse.
Even more like Nazis.
If they're like white supremacist people. I mean, again, like I say, that's not suggested at all by the show.
No,
but I don't know.
That would be an interesting way to...
It would be an interesting way
Well,
to
actually,
frame
so
that.
here's a question. When we were at the shindig, were there any black help? I ask because
at the shindig, I
don't
Is that the
remember.
one with what's her name? Christina Hendricks?
No, that's
No.
the one
No.
with Kaylee in the frilly dress.
Oh.
I don't.
Did I see that one?
I don't remember.
I'm just
'Cause there were-
curious.
'cause there
I'm
were-
curious if we can find
There were
evidence.
black extras sprinkled throughout, like...
You know what I will say,
show.
to Joss Whedon's credit? He got through this whole movie without someone saying the word whore.
That was actually a note where, like, when you were talking about Mal's...
No, I think
we're,
there was-
we're back to, like, crappy Mal. No, like, maybe there was, but I didn't hear it because I'm watching, like,
They didn't call Inara.
Yeah, nobody
a whore.
called each other a whore, but
Yeah.
I remember.
Someone called someone a son of a whore, I think.
Yeah,
That's
Oh.
probably
the word whore.
Well,
was
I
uttered.
was wrong.
But Mal and Inara's relationship was somehow, even though we were getting, like, shitty Mal in this movie, somehow their relationship was less obnoxiously
That's
portrayed.
true.
No,
Because
it was still stupid. I hated it.
I
It
mean,
was,
like-
but it was less toxic.
Well, they just don't have
Yeah.
chemistry. That's
None
that's the
whatsoever.
problem with
Yeah,
that
but she clearly got herself an acting coach
Yeah,
between
she looked.
series and
She
movie.
had a better look. in
The
terms
chemistry,
of-
like, there was worse chemistry between Simon and Mal. I feel like a lot of those scenes where I was just like, why does he seem like such a bad actor here? Not Mal, but no, what's his name? Sean Maher? Meyer? Particularly, this isn't fear, this is anger. I was like,
Oh,
is
yeah.
it?
No,
Was
this
that the
is-
first
No,
take?
this is line.
Do we want to do that again? Are you
His
sure you're
secret
gonna
is
use
he's
this?
always angry.
I mean, I
It
think
was just like really like, but anytime he was in a scene with River, they had a good tender chemistry. But then here he is, like he just had so many scenes with Mal, and it showed so much that like it was not good.
I think the problem too is just like pretty much every scene between him and Mal was supposed
It
to
was the
be
Yeah.
them mad at each other,
Anger, anger, anger.
Yeah.
and that is
Fine,
hard
leave my
to.
ship. Fine, I'll leave your ship.
that is hard
Good.
to work through.
And that got redundant too because of the whole Mal's relationship with River was really muddy and inconsistent too because they kept establishing they're chums now. He has an affection for her. She's a little sister scruff her head or whatever. She's coming on a mission. Fuck you, Simon.
Yeah.
And then when she snaps, he's like, "You brought a monster. I'm gonna talk like she's not in the room and she's a thing." This is too much of a turnaround and it doesn't make as much sense.
No.
Even if you're trying to show it as a failing on Mal's part. It's not consistent, and it's not.
Well,
it doesn't make sense.
Also, remember that this is a complete. Simon in particular is a completely different character in the movie than he was on the show.
Yeah.
It's not the same character because just the first scene exemplifies that. Fact.
Yeah,
he's a badass.
I don't know if I agree though.
Do you remember when he tried to pretend to be a mud buyer?
Okay, yes, I do. But do you remember the really awesome plot that he made for them to steal medicine?
Yeah, but, he made the plan. But I don't think
he didn't do it.
Yeah,
yeah, but
showing him being calm, cool, and collected. And
so here's the
one-liners.
thing: there's a difference between you're being put on the spot to do this thing that you've never done before, and you've been trying to find your sister for a year and you finally have your one choice and it's life and death. I'm not saying that I think he'd be great at it. I'm just saying that when something on the line is something that actually matters to someone, they can probably do things that they wouldn't expect.
Problem is he was great at it.
And another thing in his favor, though, is that this is a milieu that he's much more at home in.
That's
true.
He's
playing an
definitely
academic.
his place, yeah.
And he wasn't soliloquying or anything in that scene. He was asking questions, and he wasn't really he was his face he wasn't really acting very much in terms of.
Well, and
No one
and
was.
They weren't
honestly,
looking at him,
if the person he was interviewing wasn't so fucking oblivious, honestly,
Yeah.
the questions he was asking might have got him caught.
Absolutely.
Because it kind of feels and then, what did you do then? You could see it, kind of ramping up, him getting angry and the dude just being well, then we... Yeah.
The other character was very much all in it.
he
was just riding his own personal,
Yeah.
self...
His
I'm
sin
still
is
not
pride,
buying
that's
it,
why.
though.
Yeah,
Yes.
me neither.
I don't buy that.
I just don't feel
that
he
is
was...
a Simon. That is supposed to be a Simon before he joined Serenity. If that was happening,
That Simon was... I thought... No, that was the most recent break, I thought.
No,
What,
they
the beginning
didn't.
of the
They
movie?
didn't recapture her. That was
No,
a
yeah,
flashback.
that was
supposed-
I haven't rewatched the
that
whole
was
series. I just
before the
listened to you guys.
series.
Yeah, that's
that was
supposed
him
to-
breaking her out of the.
Well, but also
Which was why I
wasn't
said
that
it was
her?
a retcon.
But wait, wasn't that her dreaming it? Because it
No,
might
that
have.
was the
No, it was the
tape.
hologram.
No, that was the recording.
Oh, that's
that-
right.
that the operative was watching.
Yeah.
The
Sorry,
hologram was
You're
cool.
right.
Yeah.
So,
I never really liked the hologram
that is
look.
pre-Serenity. If that had happened after
that's
the
very
series,
different.
I could
Okay.
kind of be like,
Yeah, maybe.
I
okay.
misunderstood completely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I said it was a retcon because again in the show,
Yeah,
she's taken out by
Yeah.
other people.
When did he put her in the
frozen.
box?
I think she.
Why
Gets
would he put her in the
I
box?
think she gets
Exactly.
taken out in the box, doesn't she? That's how they escape with her.
Wait, we're saying in the movie.
Series, yeah.
In the
Because of the
movie-
way he breaks her out of the movie, there's no
oh.
reason for her to be in a box.
Right. What's in the box? Yeah. Cool.
The box, the box!
Yeah, I almost felt like if that scene had continued and they pulled her up on that crane, it would have been into Serenity.
Yeah.
That's how they would have played that. In the
It kind of did feel that way. Yeah, I
Um,
thought that too because they did something similar to that in the show, as I recall.
Yeah.
Oh,
Probably.
God, wait a sec. Oh, that makes...
Yeah, it makes zero sense.
You're reprocessing everything now.
Yeah,
aren't you?
no, I am, because that changes so much of,
Yep.
how logical things are, because,
Yep.
okay, one, it's been that much longer then,
Yep.
since they finally called in Chiwetel Ejiofor. And
And
then
if-
two, he...
Yep.
No, wait a second.
Well,
Yep.
maybe after the people with the blue gloves failed, they.
But
sent
that
in-
means-
There were
She
no
just
blue
spent-
glove people.
That means she just spent the entire
No, but
series
I
with
mean-
Miranda in her head,
Yep.
only finally coming out.
That's why I said it
I see.
became like that. Maybe that's she
That's the
became
thing.
But
Wait.
couldn't that be due to the treatments from her brother and/or just deterioration in general of her brain from whatever the fuck
Well,
they
the-
did?
so, like,
OD bars.
The idea would be then, I guess the inver-universe idea would be then that it's the operative whose idea was to put out that code over all commercials, all feeds, all channels,
But it-
everywhere that's being flooded now, which is why it wasn't during the series, because he's on the job now and he's deciding to do this.
Right.
Even though really that should have been what they've been doing from the get-go if this was a thing that they had
Yeah.
conditioned in her brain. This, oh my god, this suddenly got
Also,
so much
like,
worse.
This
Well,
whole
they probably
time,
didn't
I
view
guess-
her as that much of a because he's on it specifically because they realized that she knows some shit she can't know, as opposed
That
to
still doesn't
Well, here's the
redeem
thing.
this.
If they
Well, no,
knew-
I know. No, please, I'm not trying to. Listen.
No, I know.
Let me make one thing clear. I'm not trying to defend this.
No,
movie.
I know,
If the-
but oh god.
If they
okay.
knew what the project was from the off, why did they even let people with secrets locked in their heads into a room with her?
Well, the operative
Yeah.
actually says
Because
that.
pride.
Well, yeah, but like, why?
But that still doesn't help.
But, like, why would
that,
even...
That hangs a lampshade on it, but
Yeah.
it's
Well,
still
plus
bad writing.
The Parliament knew what they
absolutely bad
paid
writing,
for,
yes.
so you'd think they wouldn't let themselves in. Like, hey, that
Yeah.
doctor invited us to visit. Well, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Now,
He
Liz,
wasn't
your confusion
Yeah, he
about the
was.
scene actually makes me wonder, because I did always assume that the opening scene was intended to be pre-show, like before they go on board Serenity.
Yeah.
But maybe the implication is supposed to be that she was captured again.
They never
between-
say that she was,
See,
though,
they never
so-
do. But
Because then the next step was
don't
they get
not
back on
say that.
Serenity. Like I thought it was like, oh, they were captured again, now they got away, and now they're being welcomed back on board Serenity.
Yeah,
Because
no.
they need to get away.
Nope.
Wow!
Yeah, that's not how I've ever viewed that. But again,
no.
they don't explicitly not say that, so maybe.
They would have made a bigger
no.
deal out of the fact they'd had to just break her out.
Yeah, I feel like that too.
That would have been... just this. That's the thing. That might have been a better start of the movie than this stupid heist with Reavers for no reason.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, I just...
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're hearing this live, folks.
Oh,
I mean, not really. They're hearing it
Yeah,
a few
3
weeks from
weeks
now.
later.
Well, you know what I mean, though.
In real time.
So yeah, the series. Yeah, the film. I do not think. I think the film was. It was a fan effort to get the film made. You know, because the show had been off the air for years, for 2 or 3 years, and had blown up on DVD. And then people. There was I remember there being a big effort to like bring back the show, and then they were like, "No, we're gonna do a movie," and we're like, "Yeah." And I think that they had more budget, they had a different studio, and maybe just some of the show stuff got lost. I remember when I went to the opening day showing of this film, and I remember being disappointed in the film. At the time.
Well, it's because they can never give you in a 2-hour film what you want. Like that's
I think that's what
I just think
had.
it's not possible. I think
Well, I think it suffers.
I was just so hype. It was one of those things where it's like hype. It was like Force Awakens. Is that the first movie? It was like
Force Awakens or Phantom Menace. Which one?
Both.
yes.
Yeah, I guess both. But it's like there was just so much hype and so much excitement that there was no way the film was going to live up.
Well, also, I think suffered from the same issue that a lot of the Star Trek movies have.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're an ensemble show,
Yeah.
but you can't give everyone
have that
enough
scope.
to do in a movie.
Well,
Except in Voyage Home.
Yes. So it sort of just became the Mal show, mostly.
Yeah, and I feel like
In River. Mostly River.
Mel
And
I feel like-
shitty,
River.
and
I
shitty
actually
started
feel
the
like,
series
like
now as well.
Jane, as much as Jane was the comedy, the comic relief, he had the best one-liners. That's pretty much all he had to do in this movie.
He got beaten up by a girl.
Yeah, he got beaten up.
He got
had
shot in the
jokes,
leg.
but he was telling
spears.
jokes.
Oh, that was fucking awful. I was like, "Rrrr."
So like again, I don't think he was out of character at all.
No, not
like
at
I
all.
think Jane was fine, but
He was the most consistent, if anything.
but
yeah, they didn't.
it was
use him.
clear that they didn't really have enough time.
Yeah.
Like I think that might be part of the reason why they just had Book off the ship.
Yeah,
in an hour
yeah.
for half the movie.
They would have needed
Versus
them.
like they would have had to have them do stuff.
Yeah.
Although I guess with an hour it makes more sense because she actually
Last we saw
Yeah,
her,
she
she
said
was
she was-
getting
she
ready
was
to
leaving.
leave.
Another thing I could remember reading around the time the film came out was that basically the Miranda storyline, the plot about Miranda was part of the mythos of the show, or was going to be.
It was in the
so
Brobel.
that was always a bad idea.
But that like the or maybe not in the exact form it was in the movie, but that basically the plot of Miranda and how that comes out was going to be
like
some
season
season
two.
like a
two
season
arc or
2
something.
arc.
That's what I assumed, yeah.
Ew, I just spit on the microphone.
Ew.
That's gross.
At least he's got a spit take on it.
I spit coffee all over the mic.
So yeah,
What was that
maybe if
Yep.
they had a whole season to draw out the story, it would have worked.
Oh, yeah, that makes
Oh,
sense.
It would have
Or
definitely been
Or it
better.
could have been
We would have more
excruciating.
time.
Or it could have been excruciating. I don't know.
I think it would have been better. I think they could have built it
Probably.
better. And I also think that the film kind of reminded me of, what was that episode that we complained about because it was like part thriller, part comedy hour?
Oh,
Was that
The one with the Reavers and the kid went nuts.
What the hell was that?
It was like the third or fourth episode.
Was that Bushwhacked?
Yeah, that was Bushwhacked.
So, I feel like this sort of similarly suffered from like I definitely didn't feel a lot of the Western elements, but then at the end it felt like sci-fi kind of throughout, but then it became like a sci-fi thriller. But sometimes it was, I don't know. I just felt like we had some tonal discord again.
My problem is that, like, the Reavers just don't have the impact on me at all that they're clearly meant to. They're meant to be some menacing thing to be feared. When they show up, they raise the stakes, and I'm like, no, they're just gonna show up and they're gonna go rah, someone's gonna get punched, someone's gonna punch it, and I'm gonna laugh because that's more comical than anything to me. And then I think of the trope that they're occupying in place of, like, you know, American Indians in a Western, and I just don't. So when they show up, I'm like, the fact that they're so such a big part of the movie, and they're supposed to be like this, like this overhanging, you know, shadow that they're always running from. Like it, I just don't want them there.
No,
I want something more interesting.
Yep.
And if that filled up an entire second season, I would have clocked it. I would have checked out.
Yeah.
But it also might have been like a big reveal. Like the first half of the season probably would have been them like finding out, you know, having River
dealing with the operatives, and
and also like having River like, you know, becoming more and more like.
But I also hate River because she's such a cliche.
Well, yeah, River sucks.
Every time she shows up, she's like, "I'm cute and I kick ass," and like,
Manic Pixie Nightmare
she's
Girl.
basically so like. I'm gonna lay all my issues out on the table here.
Jesus, all of them, Liz. We don't have all day.
So,
what if the season were just a whole season of fruity oaty bars?
There you go.
Slightly more tolerable.
I want a whole season of just Simon and Kaylee just fucking in different parts of the ship.
Actually,
because they're finally getting to it. Sorry, go on, Liz.
I was just gonna say, like, so my problem with Whedon began with Buffy when I was a teenager, because like characters like Xena gave little Liz, who was always big, like some sort of like boost, in that, like, you know, there's like a representation for me or something I can relate to in that. Xena, I mean, Lucy Lawless is always like, you know, thin and Hollywood beautiful in, you know, in her own way, but she's got curves and they make her look like she's the Amazonian figure that she's supposed to be in the show, and she kicks ass. And like, there's the character that there's like the slot that I can mentally fit and relate to. And then Buffy comes along, and she's teeny tiny, and she's cute, and she's blonde, and she's got the little nose, and she's a valley girl, and she's popular, and she's all these things of the girls who would make fun of me in school, except now she's occupying the slot that I always related to, and so suddenly I had body image issues. And then here comes Summer, and River. I always get that fucked up.
She is played
Willow.
by
Summer
her name
Blau.
is Summer.
No, it fucks me
I've
up.
been calling her Willow the whole time
Great.
I've been talking
For
about the
perfect.
show.
And so
if
here
it makes
she
you
comes
feel
and
any
she's
better.
doing that, and she's even more so because she's super teeny tiny, and like her arms, like you could just like put like you could just fit those arms into like a little. It's ridiculous, and she's whooping everybody's ass, and I'm like, they're all tiny adorable Californians.
Can you
with a tiny adorable
imagine
California talk?
if he'd actually been allowed to make Wonder Woman?
Having read what little I have of the screenplay and the feet thing again, and the way he describes her,
I bet we'd get to see Gal Gadot's feet a lot.
It would have been like the world.
it wouldn't have been Gal Gadot.
Yeah,
it would have been someone even smaller.
It would have been
Like,
all.
It would have
Gal
been
Gadot
Summer
makes sense.
Glau.
It would have been Kristen Bell.
It would have been an
She's so
island
teeny.
of 5 foot tall women.
Oh, but I like Kristen.
Yeah,
I
and
love
which-
Kristen Bell, but I don't think she'd be a good Wonder Woman.
Like the mystery
She's like
we
5
got
foot
was
nothing.
exactly what I needed to see.
5'3".
Yeah, no, like that. Whedon and his tiny battle waves. It just makes me so mad every time. It's like those women have so many other roles to play in Hollywood.
Yeah, do you have to also give them these roles?
Don't give me this. Just give me this. Like friggin'. So, thank you for listening.
So I know. So it's explained more or less why Book and Inara aren't on the ship at the start of the movie. Is it ever explained why Kaylee isn't on this film until that very last scene where she has sex with Simon? I just found that so weird that she just shows up at the very last frame of the movie.
She's not River, and she's not Mal.
Oh, okay. There we go.
And she's not Reavers.
No, she got to be Polonius at Simon for a little while. Where it was like, oh, Simon, when you go out in the world,
Neither a borrower nor I have to give credit to our dear friend M for that, but thank you.
I know, I just love hearing it.
Oh, God.
That's a good descriptor of her, though.
Yes.
Polonius.
Kaylee did have what was probably my favorite moment in the movie.
Making out with Simon?
Well, when Simon,
Oh.
the romantic moment
Like,
with
was he
Simon,
like-
where I'm watching, I'm like, this is such like, oh, we need to hurry up and like throw the romance in. Oh, actually, I've always liked you, sort of that moment. But then she's like, well, fuck this, I'm gonna live, and I was like,
that
yes,
Be together like sex?
yeah. I mean to say,
But he was also like that's another out of character thing for him, where like he in the show Simon would have fucked that interaction up royally.
Well, I'll give him the credit that
Like he would have somehow managed to
They're
insult
about
her.
to die.
Yeah, I will give them that break. He
Since
thinks
I'm
he's
gonna
about to
die anyway,
Yeah.
I wish I could have got it in once. Fuck.
Yeah.
like he's
That's
got
what he
bigger
was
things,
really saying.
He's got bigger things to worry about
His-
than whether or not she's gonna receive
all
it.
his
Oh,
discomfort.
so you're saying that it's a small thing?
all of
Sad.
his all the sort of weird, uptight upbringing discomfort was finally eschewed because of the situation. So I'll grant that actually would make sense for him. Having said that, up until that point in the movie, he hadn't been that Simon anyway, so it didn't matter.
All right. Anyway, we've talked a lot
Yeah.
about Serenity.
Well,
we
that's
want
what we're here
talk
to
about? Do we want to talk about our
Firefly?
Oh, tops and bottoms?
Our tops and bottoms for the show, the episodes of the show.
Well, Zoe definitely a top. She
Yeah,
might
there-
actually
yeah,
be
there-
the only top in the show.
yeah, there's
no, I
your
could see
warrior
Inara
woman
being a
trope.
top too.
There's your warrior woman.
Well,
Now,
the
now
thing
is
is-
at least a switch.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
So
So yeah, tops and bottoms. Now, listeners, why didn't we do this last week? I don't know. Shut the fuck up.
I told us to, and I think Jake said we should.
I think we just weren't ready. I don't think we were ready. Not that we were ready today, but
Look, you make your own Star Trek podcast and then take a break to do a bit on a different show, and you do it your way.
you find your own tree.
All
Please,
right.
please don't. There's already too much
Bye.
competition.
Okay.
All right. Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
And I think as always, well, not as always, but I think we should start with bad and end with good.
Okay.
Sure.
Oh shit. Okay.
So this is, from least worst to worst. Number 3, Shindig.
Really?
You
You're
said
on your
Shindig
worst?
was your worst?
Shindig's the one I think it is, right?
The
That's
party
when they go
one.
to
The
the
frilly
party.
dress?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he
fuck
has
that
the
episode.
That's the
duel.
worst?
No, that's my least worst.
Least
It's the
worst.
third worst.
Such much?
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
fine.
it's
It's
like,
the 11th or
'cause
12th worst.
Mal has treated Inara very badly up to this point.
Yeah.
But suddenly we're supposed to forgive him because he gets mad at someone for treating her the same exact way he treats her. Fuck that.
Well, it's because he's doing the tugging on her pigtails version of being nasty to her, as opposed to paying her for sex and then treating her like he
Yeah.
paid her for sex.
Also
Piece of
needed
shit.
more Kaylee.
Yeah. No, her... Yeah, no, I want... Yeah.
That's the thing. She was great.
She
in
was,
that
but the episode was shit.
Chilling out with the dudes and being like, "Whoa, let me tell you about the shitty
Eating
engines."
strawberries.
Yeah.
Number 2, Heart of Gold, because it was just Unforgiven plus 7 Samurai, and again, just a lot of really uncomfortable, treating sex workers poorly thing. And number 1, Serenity.
The pilot?
Yeah. I said it, if we had not been doing this as part of a project, I would have watched that and gone, I'm good, I don't need to see any more of this. Mal was completely unlikable, and it didn't do anything to make me care about him or the universe, really. It was again, I think the reason they did it was probably stupid, but Fox was correct in not airing this first. It was a very horrible first impression.
Wow. Chris. who's
Ames?
next? Ames?
Sure. I think these are in order. I can't fucking tell. We'll find out. Because here's the thing, I looked at all 14 episodes, which are very few, and they're all so close together. They're all such a clump of, yeah, I like that. Yeah, that was all right. Yeah, that was fine. That just finding which ones were my tops and which ones were my bottoms. This was a particularly tough series.
Definitely agree.
So I'm gonna say a number 3, War Stories, because what the fuck, Zoe? You're better than that.
And what the fuck, Wash?
And what the fuck, Wash? You're
Yeah.
better than that.
Yeah.
I love the torture, but that's just me. Nishka, and Ames forever.
Blink twice if you're being held against your will, Jake.
Blink once if you're into it.
Take no.
Number 2, Heart of Gold. Way too much Inara. Never needed the her and Mal romance plot. Never needed it.
Terrible.
She does a good ugly cry, though. We'll give her that.
Yeah.
She did
Some
an
of the
ugly
best.
cry?
Oh, big time.
I thought it was a pretty cry.
No, it was an ugly cry.
Brooke got an ugly death.
Oh, she's too pretty to ugly cry.
Wash got
truly.
a pretty death.
No, it was pretty ugly.
Bastard.
No, he didn't. It was terrible. He made the stupidest face when he got impaled. I was like, I want to be sad, but he looks dumb as hell. This is
That's
stupid.
because he was less shocked about being impaled and more upset that he shit his pants.
Oh!
Shouldn't
We've
eat
all
that
been
ham.
there, am I right?
And number 1, I'm going to say safe, way too much river.
Oh yeah, that was a bad episode.
So I guess it's my turn.
Sure.
In no particular order. Well, maybe. I think for me, least worst to worst, it would be Safe, Serenity, and then Heart of Gold.
Heart of Gold showing up a lot. Safe, showing up a good amount.
Shart of old. All right. Well, there'll be a big shock in mine, I think.
Oh.
So my bottoms are war stories, War Horse. For the aforementioned reasons, Wash is way out of character, is always doing her thing, and, it's just, there's some cool shit in the episode, but also meh. Heart of Gold, because it was, it looked like it was like an afterthought. Like, I don't know what happened. It just didn't fit.
Nope.
And Safe, because also aforementioned reasons.
A lot of overlap.
Big time. I think Ames and I had the same ones.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah, that's right.
Different order. Oh, no, wait. Exact same order.
Oh.
Wow.
Funny.
Jake, stop stealing the answers from Ames.
Are we making Liz do this? Or-
Yeah.
Here's the thing, guys. So my first time watching the show was in an all-night marathon with a Chinese buffet break in the middle.
nice.
Next to a guy who
Chinese
sang the theme
buffet
song.
break served by white people.
Oh, yes, absolutely, actually. Next to a college friend who sang the theme song every single time.
I am so sorry.
Was it?
No, it was he was a grad student. He overreacted.
I've heard
to
about
being
Shit
yeah,
my
no.
pants.
He needed everyone to leave him alone for a bit after watching Serenity because he had to mourn Wash.
Wow.
Oh, I thought it was because he did jerk off.
Yes.
Call him A, call him B.
I'll be in my bunk.
No,
Crying.
and that was the last time I had really
Masturbating.
watched, a complete episode of Firefly ever since, until you guys decided to do this thing on the podcast, and so I watched
I'm sorry, Liz.
2
You can blame
episodes.
me.
No, we all agreed
There's
to
no
it.
It's
blame.
fine.
It's been
fine.
it's
no,
been
it's
a
all
good-
Ames' fault, but it's fine.
Jeez, wow.
I got to rewatch 2 complete episodes while on the couch here, and after that I was like, you know what, I don't need to rewatch all of them. I'll just listen to the summaries and go by what you guys say.
Our great summaries.
Trust
Yeah.
us.
So-
we have the best taste.
So, tops and bottoms, I have none. I have plenty of things that I remember that I don't like about the show, and you pretty much covered a lot of them.
Okay, what did you think of Wash's mustache, though?
I mean, it's very Alan Tudyk. I'm all right.
There we go. Well, then, my tops, again, in order from...
Least worst to worst. Oh no, tops.
Yeah, from least...
Least
top to
best
most
to
top.
best best.
Yes, least best to best best. Number 3, I might be the only one that's going to have this. Objects in Space.
I don't think you're gonna be the only one that has that.
Because,
I
holy
think
shit,
the only one that has that.
they finally figured out what to do with River. Shame the show got canceled. After being told what a genius she is for so long, she actually, used her wits to outwit someone.
Yeah, she pulled it out. She was
That
awesome.
was great. I found the bounty hunter kind of annoying, but that made up for it for me. Number 2, Janestown. That was just, I don't know, it was funny watching him, deal with this situation of, wow, I'm a hero, and kind of getting into it, and then kind of realizing, no, I am a piece of shit. And number 1, Ariel, because it was just a really well put together heist picture, and it's hard to fuck that up.
Cool. Tops. For me, number 3, Ariel. Just tight and good. And Heist was good. And Simon was smart and useful.
Yeah.
That was a pleasant change. Number 3. Or number 2. Number 3 again. Still Ariel. Number 2, Janestown. Because it was just tight and good. And Jane got to be a thing. And that was interesting for Jane.
You gotta stop saying tight and good. I can't.
You need to go to the book there.
I mean, I was thinking it, but I wasn't going to say it.
And number 1, just because I'm a sucker for this kind of stories, Out of Gas.
Yeah, I like Enterprise then.
All right, least best to best best.
I didn't hear what you said.
I see you might like Enterprise then. They do a lot of those, oh god, we have to survive.
It's not the
stories.
survival. See, I don't care about the survival part. I like the
Oh,
framing.
you like the framing device.
The
I
framing.
see. In that case, I have nothing.
Least best to best. I like the message.
Is that on your list, or are you just saying you like it?
Yeah, it's on my list.
Okay.
Number 2 would be Janestown, and number 1 was Ariel.
Okay. So mine, Out of Gas. I also like that story. I like getting the backstories on the crew and... Yeah, and you know.
What about the survival story,
I actually
Jake?
thought I think the survival thing was cool, and like having
Fire snake.
You know, the only thing I don't, the things I. It's also got some of the worst things in the show, such as the fire snake and the way that Mal wasn't just murdered by those guys, which doesn't make any sense.
No.
But anyway, I do like the show, that episode overall. Fuck the fire snake.
No, it sounds like it'd burn your bumhole.
Number 2 is Ariel, again, for aforementioned reasons. It's a really, I just thought it was well put together. And I also really like the, it does with Jane what we expect of Jane.
Yeah.
Which is to be a jackass.
Mm-hmm.
But it also, I don't know. On another show, I think that might have been subverted. I think Jane wouldn't have been the bastard.
Yeah.
Because he's one of our heroes.
Yeah.
But in this one, he was just the bastard and continued to be the bastard until the very end under threat of death.
Yeah.
And then keeping with that, my top episode is Janestown because it is just a whole lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Even if the song is a skosh too long.
It's a great song.
It does go on for fucking ever, but yes.
I wonder how many covers there are of it on YouTube.
Oh my god.
So many.
Jane, the Jane.
There'll be at least one woman with enormous eyes playing a ukulele version.
You know what I like about it, though? It does sort of feel like one of the, spaghetti western songs. It feels like Gringo Like Me, except, it's about Jane.
Yeah. He is a gringo like me.
Or a gringo like me. That's a good song. Anyway.
So yeah, I don't know. Overall, how do we feel about Firefly as a show?
It's a loaded question, Jake.
I mean, it's worth summarizing our feelings on it.
It got shit canned right when they were maybe figuring out what to do with it, and then the movie was fucking garbage.
So you sort of feel like you saw some potential, and then
yeah, I think
was
like
over
before
it could be realized.
Like, I hated the pilot, but a lot of the other episodes, I was saying like, yeah, again, there was a lot of potential. There's like, if they gotten more time, they maybe would have had something, but they didn't get it, which was a shame.
Yeah, because it's like a lot of, look at the first season of TNG.
Yeah, I was about to say, if that had only gotten one season, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Exactly. It would definitely not be remembered as like, oh my god, it was such a great
no one
series.
would be patrolling trying to get a movie made.
Nope.
Yeah.
Trying to get it to be uncanceled.
And the thing is, right, like TNG succeeded just in spite of itself because there was a lot of goodwill, a lot of love for TOS.
Yeah. And Patrick Stewart probably helped.
I think Firefly is a thing where there was a ton of love from this little show.
Yeah.
And that's what got the movie made. But again, I agree, I don't think the movie quite lives up to the show.
Well, because at least by the end, I was kind of starting to warm up to, like, the world they were building. And the movie just felt like it was from a different world.
It's funny because I like the movie. I think it actually pairs well with the show. But now that we're saying like a lot of these differences are very different, I don't know. I still like it though.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think if you had put in a different group of characters, I think it would have been a perfectly passable sci-fi action movie. But I don't see anything about it that makes it a Firefly movie. It did not scratch that itch for me when I saw it 15 years ago. And
it's got the trappings, but
continues.
not the heart.
Yeah, and that is where I think that is why I like Firefly. I continue to like Firefly, even though it has its flaws, and there are myriad flaws. The thing that Firefly has that Star Trek really hadn't done, or Next Generation, I say, really didn't have at all throughout its run, was a cast of really interesting characters that had their own personalities that we could give a shit about. Yeah. And that...
You're segueing us into DS9,
and
aren't you?
Exactly. that we did Firefly between TNG, because TNG, like I say, I think with maybe the exception of Captain Picard and Data, I don't think TNG had great
Interpersonal relationships.
I think the main characters...
Spot and Data.
I guess when Worf to an extent, but again, I think Worf gets fleshed out a lot more in DS9 later.
You know who had great chemistry? Him and Alexander. Every time they were on screen together,
But, like,
it was
you know,
magic.
And like, yeah, it didn't like River.
I really believe he
River
hated
wasn't
that
great
kid.
for a lot of this, and like some of the interpersonal stuff, like Mal and Inara, never really gelled very well.
No.
But you had really interesting, depthful characters. You had
Yeah.
Jane, you had
One,
Zoe and Watt. Like, you had these people you actually gave a shit about, and like
Yeah.
you knew how they would react. That's one of the reasons for me why the movie kind of didn't work, is because some of those characters, because it was a movie, like you said, Chris, a lot of those characters didn't get time to get any screen time.
There's 9 characters in this show,
Yeah.
and you know we barely see Book. We see bits of Elnara, not the pleasant bits either. But hey, and you know it's hard to squeeze 9 full story arcs into a movie.
And that's why I'm not. It might have been a really taller. They might not have been able to do it, but I think that's one of the reasons. Because the reason I like the show, and I think a lot of people like the show, is because of the great characters, and the movie kind of loses a lot of that for me.
I think what I've liked about Firefly, what I remember liking about Firefly, and what I still see with what I've gone back and watched again, is like, because this I always held, I was like, oh, Firefly is the one like Whedon thing that I've enjoyed, and I think it's because the casting was so good to begin with. I think there are a lot of good performers who really make distinct characters out of what they're given,
And also Inara.
But like, you know.
look,
I mean,
she's
Gina
great.
Torres,
She is-
Alan Tudyk, Nathan Fillion, like they're all very charismatic in their own right, and they hold their own, and they play off each other.
And she's
usually
great
well.
in Deadpool.
She's fine in Deadpool.
No,
She's also fine in Gotham.
She's in Gotham?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
she's in
right.
Gotham.
We talked about
Who's
this.
she
I'm
in
sorry.
Gotham?
She's
Leslie Tompkins.
yeah, the Doctor. That's where she got together with what's his face who plays Gordon, and now they have a baby.
Wait, what?
IRL?
Really?
Yeah,
Neat.
Wow.
yeah. She was in a relationship when she started that show.
Ooh, awkward.
Yeah.
Whoopsie.
It's appropriate though, because Gordon cheated on his wife in the comics.
Yeah.
Not with Leslie Tompkins though.
Talking Superman again?
Batman.
Superbat.
Yes.
Super bad.
Super bad.
Super
Batman.
Superman and
Man
Batman.
bad.
Super bad.
Alright, I
Super
think we're ready.
bad.
I don't have a card for
Do-do-do.
you, Caitlin, but
He's a bat.
Oh!
I think you can remember the one thing we're doing next week.
Yeah. What's it called, though?
Emissary.
Oh, that's okay. Thank
Back
you.
to the office. Everyone get your ties
Star
on.
Trek deep space thing.
Put that Horgong in your luggage. You might need it later.
I'll hold it.
Thank
We,
you.
Sit me up.
we will. There's going to be a Risa episode.
Yay! All right. So this...
That's fine.
This concludes our Firefly Shore Leave. Next week, join us as we watch the 2-hour special Deep Space Nine opener, Emissary. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. In the meantime, if you like what you've heard, you can find us and subscribe. We are located where all fine podcasts are sold. You can find us on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, Apple Podcasts. You can visit us on Facebook, search A Star to Steer Her By. We are SSHB Podcast on Tumblr and Twitter, or you can visit us at www.sshbpodcast.com, which is just gonna link you to the Tumblr anyway, but maybe someday it will magically become a real website.
I'm a real boy.
I'm a real boy! I was thinking that too. Until then, I've been Caitlin.
I have been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
I'm also Liz.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
And see y'all next week.
I am a leaf on the wind. Watch how I